Right, guys, welcome to another video. We've had an up in subscribers, which is fantastic. I think we've had like 7 in the last week, so a subscriber a day. That's cool. I've been putting a lot of work in and really trying to think about YouTube in my daily life and trying to sort of think about subjects I can talk about. I did use the YouTube suggestion thing the other day, and it gives you, it's called the inspiration tab. And it's quite funny. I think they are definitely AI, because some of the things it was like, you should talk about this, and it was just like, it was just things that it was just made up. Like, you can't even do the things that it was like, get an SP300 printing on wood. It's like, well, wood's not going to fit, so it's literally AI just suggesting things. I wonder if that title would work, and perhaps it's just there to get views. That's good coffee. Today's video, it's been a good week, by the way, so I hope everyone else has had a good week. So yeah, just cheers for the subscribers. It's crazy. Next goal is 80, and then I want to get to 90 and then get to the one. Once I get to 100, I'm going to do a competition as well. So I'll do a giveaway 100 stickers at every benchmark, and next will be 200 stickers, and you just get a free sticker batch. I'll do 100 stickers of whatever you want, and that's sort of like my goal. Do a competition when I get to 100. So if you want some stickers, tell your friends. So this video we're going to talk about, I was talking to this fella the other day. He does car wrapping. He seems like a nice guy, and he says he keeps hiring youngsters, and they just don't want to work. And I was like, what is that generation? Is it Gen Z, Gen Alpha, I'm not very good. I know I'm a millennial, and I know what a boomer is. Damn boomers. And he says they're always on their phone. I'm like, yeah, but we're all on our phones. And he's like, yeah, but at work they just pull out their phones like it's like second nature. It's like another limb. They don't see like how looking at a phone whilst working isn't a problem. And if you talk to them, they'll say, well, I'm just changing the song on the thing, changing their listen to their Spotify or whatever, which they're not. But I think our attention has been stolen from us, and we're all guilty of it. It was a good saying the other day. It's like people even struggle to have conversations because their attention's so low. So if you're having a discussion with someone and they start Googling it, are they in the room with you there? Like, I want us to have a conversation. Let's think about this. If you're asking ChatGPT about things I'm saying or things you're saying, unless I'm specifically saying the time and date, or I personally think it's actually quite rude, but for someone just to flip out Google or ChatGPT, because they're not thinking, they're not there having a conversation. The conversation has ums and butters and stuff. Sorry, I went on a detour there. So youngsters are definitely guilty of this, and I've worked with some youngsters, and there's no manners, and I think that's, and a lot. What I mean by manners as well is even basic sort of listening skills. It's a tough one, and so I think they struggle with that, because I think they're just used to getting their information. If they don't know, they just Google it, right? So what I was saying. So if you go, look, here's what you need to do. If this happens, do this, and if this happens, do this, and they mess it up, and they go, well, you told me, and I was like, I didn't tell you to do anything. I get what he's saying, but also I said to him, but also you got to think about the boomers. So the boomers, with all their disciplines and their finesse, they are good at what they do when it comes to small format. I've seen them. They seem to steer towards the production side of small format, and that's what I've sort of noticed. It might not be true everywhere. Or installation, perhaps. They just don't want to get involved with the computery side, maybe the graphic design or the artworking or the printers with the buttons and such. But they definitely finesse. I was talking to one before, and he's standing there airing out the paper, doing all these little flicky things and stuff. And I'm just thinking, he's finessing that. He's doing such a good job. He doesn't even think about it. I know Boomer. Boomer started when he was 16 and still doing it now. So you think that he reckons he would never ever get a job again. So he has to stay where he is. They're a little bit cynical boomers, and but they have that discipline. Like, who's going to teach the next generation? So print changes every 5 minutes, right? There's a new computer coming out, a new lap print technique and print is coming out, and software's coming out every 5 minutes. But the boomers, I don't even know, are they the workhorses? Once they go, the industry is going to change. There's going to be like the WW bubble, there's going to be like a print bubble. There are hungry people like myself who, and I know a few others who will fight for that space. But do youngsters want it? Do youngsters care enough? If you have a creative youngster, even when they come out of uni, we were talking about this as well. They come out of uni and they don't know what 300 DPI is. They don't know how to mask. They only work destructively for some strange reason. So you work destructively and non-destructively in Photoshop and Illustrator. So some reason saying that in Illustrator sounded weird, but it is true. So clipping masks and stuff, and just delete the excess. You just need the shape. You don't need. So you work with these guys, and they're asking very basic questions. And he was saying that he met a guy with I don't know what, like a master's degree or something, I think he said. And this guy didn't know what a clipping mask was, which is bizarre. I don't know. I don't even know how you get it. So they think they're good at Illustrator because they know fonts and stuff, and then they get to the real world and they've got to push out quick work. You've got to be efficient. You're on the clock. People take it down to the click of a button. Like, how many clicks does that take you? We need to automate that bit and do that and get the plug-in for that. And I get it, but so the youngsters aren't hungry enough for it. And they think they're sort of like book smart or screen smart. They're on the ground. You ask them to, run a printer. You got to think about logistics and stuff, like how are you gonna move it? That's gonna take half an hour to print 10 meters, and then I've got to change material. Whilst I can do, while I'm doing that, I'm emailing back a client and then working on some, artwork for another client. It's a bit like a kitchen scenario. So there's definitely pressure involved, and you've got to make it work. So do you just hire kids or youngsters? Sorry, not kids, just to do the point and shoot jobs? So when the boomers go, which will be in the next 10 years, either they're going to retire, or what's the other one? You know what I mean? Or they're just going to, call it quits. What's next? We're gonna have AI. AI can't finesse the paper. AI can't. You get, even with the velo blade. It has these little air things that meant air out the paper. If you laminate your paper, it never works. It just sticks. And so these functions are for certain things, but you need that sort of, that guy who has the flick of the wrist, the finesse. Was it hold L1 if you're playing FIFA? So I wonder. So we haven't got hungry enough youngsters, and then we got with the boomers who run these cornered nice little studios. They're miserable, but they keep turning up every day, and they work. They're old dogs. You can't teach them something new. They get really flustered. But they're good at what they do. And when I see them work, I'm sort of fascinated. It's like, they're regimented. They all know all the numbers in their heads. You know what I mean? They probably know their phone number and all their mates' phone numbers in their head. So they're just old school, and there's nothing wrong with that. Got a little fly turning up. Like, subscribe for the fly. Maybe a returning character to the videos. Who knows? But yeah, I thought that was a good discussion to have. Like, youngsters aren't hungry. Old boys aren't. Well, they're not hungry either. They're just they're there. They've got their mortgage. boomers, got a little bit of money left, or maybe they paid off their mortgage and they're just doing it for like a bit of backy every now and then, a couple of, a bit of whiskey on the weekends, and that's them. So they're just simple creatures as well. I wonder, so, I'll happily take up the space, but in the industry, for the level that I'm at, and I think there's still a lot I can learn as well. I don't think there's many, because it's too specific, because I'm a graphic designer, art worker, bench worker, finesse on the vinyl, sign maker, and they say that the graphic designer doesn't like the print guy. The print guy will get stitched up by the graphic designer because he's not thinking about the end product. The graphic designer is thinking about, you haven't outlined the fonts, you haven't done this, you haven't done that, you haven't added the trim marks and stuff. So the graphic designer is not thinking about the print. So I'm there in that translation as well. So it's quite useful. I'm quite useful. I'm a bit of a Swiss Army knife in this industry. I've done every processes of printing as well, 10 years. And now I've got my little shindig going on. And it's just a nice little trickle. I'm not a millionaire yet. I'll get there. But even that, the industry's still saturated. So maybe I'm wrong, but the industry is definitely going towards more sort of, I don't know, if you get like flyers and stuff, it's more corporations. You know what I mean? There's big guys doing it. You don't get these small studios. The small studios will pay, but even then, there's still this. If you go into I worked in these massive warehouses, print place. I was the youngest person there, and there was about 30 people working there. So it is definitely interesting. I wonder that, that's probably when everything's going to kick off, right? So I'm going to be like, I'll take all this business because, businesses and, print places are folding all the time. It's such a shame, but it's a race to the bottom with these print management companies as well. I've sort of gone on about 20 tangents for this video, but if anyone wants me to focus down on more simpler sort of subjects, just write in the comments, and I'll do a video about it, and I'll even bring in advice from other people while I ask. And it's definitely interesting times ahead. I'm excited, and let's keep moving. And obviously, there's a lot of foreign industry. You see like these little bedroom printers who are just killing it. I see there's these Vietnamese couple that I watch. They've got 2 little printers running and cutters running all day, and they're making bank. So they've got a compact little gig, and it works. So I wonder. In fact, I've even considered being a bit more compact and making a little stand and having a hand-fed sheet printer from one of these Oki places, Oki, and that you can even put packaging through them and stuff. So that I think I could put that on some wheels, have a cutter on wheels, or you have one of these plotters that you feed sheets into, and it will just make everything a bit more condensed. I don't want to lose the SP300, but I feel like I could really turn it up a notch. And if I was going to invest, it would be in that direction, just make it very, very sticker heavy. I'm sort of ready to go on the attack, so it's going to happen soon. Like and subscribe if you want to kind of see me, and if it all goes to the pan, it's fine. Like you know what I mean, like. I'll keep going no matter what. It's inevitable. It's going to work, and it's slowly getting there. Anyways, sort of a mad video again. I should write a loose script, but I just sort of off the dome. You know what I'm saying? Like, subscribe, guys. Thank you for the new subscribers, and hello to the old ones. Peace out. Have a good weekend. Good bank holiday weekend. Don't go into work on Monday. Peace.